Malachi, what happened?
His tongue. It's black.
Someone! Bring us water!
His fingers, too. He told me. Truly.
Who?
It has the power of 1,000 scorpions.
Who told you? Bernard Gui, who killed this man after you so cleverly found the murderer?
I never said I'd consign to law all the criminals loose in this abbey. I've done my work here. Open the gates!
Brother Nicholas, have you breakfasted already?
This is not a day for breaking fast. 5 of my brothers gone. It's a time for dedicating ourselves to holy work. I thought you two would have been nosing around to find out who'll be appointed librarian. Everyone else is.
Malachi isn't even buried yet.
It's too important a position to wait for such formalities. A wise and worthy man must be found, soon.
Must he know Greek?
As tradition has it.
Benno is now assistant. He knows Greek.
So he says. He's too young. There are others with better qualifications.
Did Adelmo know Greek?
Doubt it.
But Venantius did. And Berengar.
Malachi spoke his last words to you, William. What assailed him? Locusts? Smoke?
Scorpions.
That 5th trumpet.
What sort of a man was Malachi, in your opinion?
Some would say a fool. When I arrived here, the librarian was Robert of Bobbio. When he died, he appointed a very young Malachi, who lied about knowing Greek and Arabic. Malachi protected the library like a guard dog, with no knowledge of what he was protecting.
They also say he appointed Berengar because there were relations between them.
And between Berengar and Adelmo, of which Malachi was insanely jealous. They say. There are murmurings, too, about Malachi and Jorge.
Truly?
Not in that way. The truth is, if you want to know the whereabouts of an ancient text, you ask Jorge, not the librarian. Malachi merely fetches it.
How is it Jorge knows the library so well?
He's been here for 60 years or more. You do know that by tradition, the librarian later becomes abbot.
Ah, so the present abbot was once librarian?
No. He was abbot before I arrived, 30 years ago. Before him, there was Paul of Rimini, a voracious reader, but with a strange affliction. He was unable to write. Paul had been librarian. Then, as abbot, he appointed Robert of Bobbio to the library. Paul just disappeared one day, went out, and never came back.
He died?
No one knows. Anyway, Robert was ill and couldn't take his place as abbot. Our present leader was given the job instead, though he'd never been librarian.
Back to the scriptoria, Mazzo.
Oh, I was hoping you would come.
You weren't so welcoming yesterday, Benno.
They've killed Malachi since then.
Whose position you now hold.
I need to speak to you. Alone.
Adzo, there are piles of books on desks, any one of them instructive to a young novice.
With Malachi gone, I think I'm in danger.
If you'd helped me yesterday, Malachi would still be alive. You gave him the book that killed him. Tell me now, did you have that book in your hands? Did you read it?
I opened it. There were several manuscripts inside. The first in Arabic, then one I think in Syriac, a Latin text, and finally one in Greek.
So touching it doesn't kill you. The Greek text. Did you look at it?
Briefly. It had no title, as if a page were missing. The truth is my Greek isn't very good. And anyway, I couldn't leaf through it.
Why not?
The pages were stuck together. It was strange.
the word Severinus used?
I think it might have been made of cloth, not paper.
The Chartalintale.
Jaina Cipriana. I haven't seen this since I was a boy.
Of all the great books, you choose a childish compendium of jokes and rhymes.
Some people say its riddles and parodies are instructive.
Put it back, Adzo.
Oh, wait! Riddles. Benno, the morning Adelmo and the others were arguing about riddles. When Berenger mentioned the Finis Africae, did anyone talk about the China?
It was on Venantius's desk.
It was the book Malachi got upset about. I don't know why.
Interesting. Benno, may we see the library's catalogue?
It's on my desk. I must go down for prayers for Malachi. Don't remove it!
And don't worry, Benno. You're in no danger. We must make a calculation, Adzo. Nicholas arrived here 30 years ago, when the abbot had already been appointed. The abbot before him was Paul of Rimini. Let's say the succession took place around 1290, more or less.
And when Paul became abbot, Robert of Bobbio was librarian. He died and the post was given to Malachi.
The books are recorded in order of acquisition. And who writes them down?
The librarian.
So, by the changes in handwriting, we can establish the succession of librarians. Now, this last hand is Malachi's. Working backwards, we see a series of pages in a shaky hand.
Robert of Bobbio. He was ill.
And then, pages and pages in a more confident hand. Paul of Rimini worked hard, but weren't we told that he had an unfortunate affliction?
He couldn't write.
So who wrote these pages? It seems that before Robert, we have a mystery librarian, around 40 to 30 years ago.
Come in. Brother William.
Father Abbot. I've reflected at length on recent events.
At too great length. 5 monks have died, 4 since your arrival. Another 2 have been arrested by the Inquisition. A pitiful outcome.
I've not lived up to your expectations, but I'll explain why. These crimes do not stem from a vendetta amongst the monks, but from deeds that originate in the remote history of this abbey.
What do you mean? I had heard other things that I could not reveal.
In confession. Sodomite relations between Berenger and Adelmo, and between Berenger and Malachi. Everyone in the abbey knows this. But they have scant influence on the painful events. Everything turns on the theft and possession of a book concealed now again in the Finis Africae, thanks to Malachi.
How do you know about the Finis Africae? Have you violated my ban and entered the library?
How I arrived at my conclusion is too long a story. The fact is that all those who knew something of the library's secrets are dead, except you.
Are you insinuating?
And the last to know, you could be the next victim. You must tell me now what you know about that forbidden book. And who else in the abbey knows what you know?
I made a mistake asking an outsider to investigate things that are my responsibility. The meeting of the legations has taken place. Your mission here is over. It is not necessary for you to continue your investigations. You may leave the abbey tomorrow morning, early. Do not disturb the monks further.
The inflated wineskin thinks he's important because he wears a ring as big as the bottom of a bottle. Thank you, Brother William. See what a big ring I've got. Goodbye.
You're not thinking logically, Master. I have some hypotheses.
Do you now?
First, the abbot knew everything already and imagined you would discover nothing.
Any more?
You opened his eyes. He suddenly understood something terrible, knows who is responsible for the crimes, but wants to be rid of you to solve the problem himself, so as not to bring shame on the abbey.
Bah! Precious abbey. Wants me to leave tomorrow. Very well. But by tomorrow I must know everything.
Jorge! Where is Brother Jorge?
No Jorge.
I want Jorge here! Find him! Now!
I think, Adzo, tonight events will come to a head. One night to find the Finis Africae.
We waited until midnight before entering the library for the last time. We were past masters now of the Abbey's secret paths. The third altar of the chapel, press the eyes of the plaster skull to open the door into the fearsome alley lined with monks' skulls. Oh, the memory of that corridor still makes me shudder.
What was that? It's coming from behind the wall.
Someone's trapped.
In another secret route to the Finis Africae? Who? Someone must be up there already. The trapped man has tried to follow him. There must be a mechanism controlling the doors in Finis Africae. Question is, who has trapped who?
We must save him.
That can only be done by releasing the mechanism upstairs. Hurry! Let this be a lesson to you, Adzo. Listen to your grammar teacher.
Grammar?
This mirror you saw your own distorted image in. Venantius mentions it in his code. It is a door.
We've already tried to open.
The discourse is presumed de dicto, not de re. Primo et septimo dequatur. The first and seventh of the word for, carved on the mirror. We have to press the Q and the R. Oh, watch out, idiot! Your friend's been blown out of the books. Do you want to set fire to the library?
What if someone's in there?
Well,
Armed.
Leave your lamp here. Take mine, and never fear.
God is with us.
In the year of our Lord 1327, in the heart of the night that was giving birth to the seventh day, Brother William of Baskerville and I finally entered the Finis Africae.
At last.
A blind man needs no light. Jorge of Burgos sat alone in the dark until my fragile flame lit his form, huddled over the forbidden book.
Then it's the abbot imprisoned in the secret stairway.
I thought he would already have suffocated.
Before we talk, Jorge, I'd like to save him.
That's not possible. I broke the door mechanism. The abbot is dead.
Why did you kill him?
Today, thanks to you, he discovered everything. Now come, take a seat. Tell me the outcome of your investigations.
You are the mysterious librarian of 40 years ago. When you realized you were going blind, you made sure all future librarians were people you could control. Robert of Bobbio, then Malachi. Now, you tell me, how were you so sure I would arrive tonight?
From the first day, I knew we would be here together, eventually. You know how to reconstruct in your own mind the thoughts of another.
You still managed to keep the book away from me.
Malachi did, not I.
He was in a jealous rage that Adelmo had stolen his beloved Berengar.
Oh, a vile weakness.
Oh, your disapproval wasn't too great. I imagine you lied to Malachi that even Severinus had been intimate with Berengar in exchange for the book. Malachi killed Severinus, but still couldn't find the book, because Remedio came in. Yes?
More or less. I told Malachi to put the book back, but for once his curiosity got the better of him. Now tell me, William, what is it that you want?
I want to see the forbidden manuscript. Written on linen paper, made in Burgos, your home. The book you stole to keep others away from reading. I want to see the second book of poetics of Aristotle.
What a magnificent librarian you would have been here. Here is your prize. It's in there. Read it. You've won.
Bring the light closer, Adzo.
Oh, you're here, boy. I'll show it to you, too, after William.
The Arabic text.
Then there's another copy of the Chainer.
This was the one Malachi knew had to be hidden. Not the one you found on Venantius's desk. What's this text?
An Egyptian work of the 3rd century. On the 7th day of God's laughter, the soul appeared. The ravings of an African alchemist. Now read how the book you want so much begins.
In the first book, we